Hey, Cindy here from Pot Studios, a local pottery studio down in Tugun on the Gold Coast, Australia. I just wanted to do a few little videos just to explain the pottery process. It's not rocket science. We don't have to have huge studios to be able to make beautiful handmade homewares. My son is in the background and he's giving me shit. So bear with me and we'll get through this process. So I want to go right back to the start. So right back to some of the things that people don't actually explain. But if we don't do it properly, it actually ruins our pottery. So the actual pottery process is very simple, but it has to be fired twice in a kiln. So what that means is we make our beautiful pottery today and we have to allow that pottery to dry out before it goes into the kiln for its first firing. So the first firing is called bisque firing, and that bisque firing goes up to 1000 degrees. Once we've bisque fired our pottery, we then apply a glaze on it and we pop it back into the kiln, and it is fired up to a range between 1200 degrees to 1300 degrees depending on the clay. Now that seems very challenging, but every clay that you use and every clay that you buy, there's instructions on the front of the packet on what temperature to actually fire your clay to. So it takes away all that processes. A little thing about clay, it changes a lot during this process. So this one here is called BRT. It's a clay I've been playing with, and it is one of our favourite clays here in the studio. So once we've made something with BRT, we have to allow this clay to dry. If we don't allow the clay to dry properly, the water particles in the wall of the clay will explode and your whole pot will shatter in the kiln. So once it's been drying, it actually dries and looks a lot like this pot. This pot was made about a week ago, and I'll actually allow that to dry a little bit longer before I put it in the kiln for the first time. We actually dry in a drying room here. You don't need a special room, but what we want to do is make sure that your pottery dries really slowly. If it dries fast, or you want it to dry fast, and you pop it out in the sun, the clay's going to shrink really quickly and crack. So we don't want that. So once that is fully bone dry, you can take it to a firing service. There's firing services all over Australia, and we throw it in the kiln and it's fired to 1000 degrees here in Australia. Once that is fired, this clay looks like this colour. So it changes in colour and it actually gets a little bit smaller as well as the water is taken out of that clay. There's no waiting time from here until your finished product. So you can take that straight out of the kiln, you can apply glazes and then put it straight back in the kiln. Once we put it back in the kiln, we fire that to 1220 degrees here at the studio, but different studios will fire to different temperatures, and so talk to your local firing service. This now is fully functional, so we can throw that in the oven, we can put it in the dishwasher, we can serve food in it. It's all food safe and ready to go. Also, you'll notice the change of colour. So this one has changed again, and that's now the finished product of the clay that we use, which is called BRT. So thanks for joining us. We're going to do little other videos on firing. We're going to talk to you about different clays and how to choose it. We're going to do a whole heap of different things. So thank you for listening to the first video.